Hi, it's Barbara Ireland with another Mind Loops Insight today. And I had a very interesting thought. The book I wrote, How to Stop Negative Thoughts, it describes my near death experience. I went through a 4-hour life review, which was just astounding beyond belief. And it was because of that life review that I even became aware of mind loops and am doing what I do now, wrote the book training people on changing these mind loops because it changed my life so much. What I thought about was the third D of the de-looping method is detour. I did another video about detours. It's basically the whole process of taking your mind off the worry or the negative thought you have going on and putting it consciously onto something else so that it breaks this cycle of looping on something. And I thought about why what was this process of dying that I went through? I mean, I was terrified beyond belief, no doubt about that. But at one point that terror settled. And you know what it was? It was the life review, because in the life review I was constantly occupied. My mind was occupied. I was asked questions. I was shown movies of my life. So, all up to that moment, I was freaking out. I was crying in a way that you can't even imagine someone crying. Like, what? What was this? What is this crying? I mean, it was so heavy duty crying and so scared because I could tell something really intense was happening. And I was in a remote area, no cell phones, and death was not a concept that I thought was happening. I just knew something really scary and really bad was happening. If I thought I was dying, I would have been saying, I'm freaking dying. Someone do something. I mean, call a cab. You know what I mean? Because the medic wasn't much of a medic. But I didn't think, I mean, who's going to think they're going to die when they go somewhere and do something? Nobody. I mean, I don't. So while it was happening, I just knew I was terrified, but I didn't know what was happening. And then I felt my life energy going out the top of my head, and I got really scared then. Because you read about that or you see it in these sci fi movies, but I actually felt it. And I think I'm remembering it right now because I'm tearing up. It's a very scary and bizarre feeling. But here's the thing. That's when the life review started. And that is exactly the life review is it was exactly like a detour, the detour process in my de-looping method. Because the life review got my mind and emotions off this terror of dying and it focused it into something curious and interesting and stimulating to my mind and thought provoking and all these things that got my mind off the fear and into something interesting. And I stopped crying. And for the most part, I was just watching these movies of my life and answering the questions and trying to not answer it like truthfully a couple times. And I got called on it by whatever the voice was that was leading this, that was not outside of me and was not the voice of my head. So call it whatever you want according to your belief system. That was funny though. I tried to like lie my way out of a couple answers. But anyway, that what I was thinking today is what freaking brilliance of the life review was just like the third D of my de-looping method. Detour. Detour is so powerful. When you're worrying and you can't seem to I know two people who in the last few days said they were so worried about their daughters they could not stop. They could not stop. One started crying. This delooping method is so amazing for that kind of worry. And look, I'm not a parent. I can only imagine the kind of worry that parents have about children. But even so, this this method works. And part of that is this detour. It's such a big piece because these worries and these thoughts, worries in particular, have this, well, maybe they all do, but they have this rubber band quality where, you detect it, you detach from it, the first two D's of the system, and then if you just stop there, you feel okay for like a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, but it's more like a rubber band. Like I'm okay, and then in a second it snaps back, and the worry's back in the head. So to not to break that rubber band process, you have to consciously choose something else to engage your mind. Podcasts are cool, inspiring books, music is awesome, singing, skipping. There's so many things. But I just wanted to share how freaking brilliant it was that, however, this life review happened, this near death thing happened, that somehow I was detoured out of my fear so I could concentrate on the lesson I was meant to get, which is so cool to me. So happy about it. So happy about it. Okay, love you.